Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Kay, Shaka and Nedum here with you to answer your questions. Let's get started with Sauruf, who says to Nedum, which Man City centre-back impressed you the most at Euro 2020? Was it Diaz, Laporte or Stones?
Oh, that is a good one. To be honest, I think they all played well in some ways. I think Diaz Laporte's goal, that was a tough one. But I would say, overall, I'd have to say John Stones, because I think ultimately England conceded, was it like a couple of goals in the whole tournament? And obviously they didn't win it, but I think he was an integral part of that. I think he played every game, so I'm going to go for him. But credit to Laporte, because he was playing on the right-sided centre-back for some of those games as left-back, and he felt like he was the quarterback for Spain. So, yeah, it's honourable mention, but for me, John Stones.
I think that's an easy question for Nedum, really, Shaka, because he gets to pick a Manchester City defender, whatever it was, so, you know,
well, you know, yeah, it is what it is.
Even then, he didn't really want to, did he?
No.
He's like, I'm going to just hedge my bets a little bit.
So, you know, that fence getting some splinters. Shaka, for you next from Dane. Would smaller CONCACAF nations like Trinidad and Tobago be opposed to combining the Gold Cup and the Copa America?
No, we wouldn't. I think it's an incredible idea. I think it should be done. Listen, the other thing too, you have to recall, the Gold Cup is still played every 2 years. So even if you want to have the combination of the Gold Cup and Copa America once every 4 years, and then have that Gold Cup in between, where as we see right now, the US puts out a younger, less experienced team. Mexico can do the same. I have no problem with that. And then the smaller nations put out whoever they feel, as strong a team as they like. I think it's a win-win for everybody.
I want to know about Nedum. The next one for you first. I'll ask both of you. It's from Frank LeBuff, not the Frank LeBuff. Did you ever play with someone who seemingly was fouled all the time, similar to Jack Grealish? What made them so good at drawing contact?
Oh my gosh. To be honest, those types of players, they're good when they're on your team. They are very good when they're on your team. But when you're playing against them, it's frustrating because it's little niggly things. They're just really, really good at just standing in front of you and stopping. So you never really foul them. But there's always some level of collision. And I think David Silva was good at that, and another guy who was exceptional at it was defensive midfielder, Gareth Barry, actually. So he could mix up in terms of like tackling people and all that stuff, but in terms of winning a free kick, he was probably as good as I've seen. The master of just getting in front of you, slowing down and making it seem like it's a car crash. So yeah, those players, they're a nightmare, but some people are really, really good at it.
Yeah, I'm talking to a defender about it. So were the players, Nedum, that actually used to bother you, that you'd think,
So for me, and I think as is the case with lots of other defenders, if you're like bigger or whatever, and there's a small attacker, the ref is always very keen to give them a free kick because he's adamant that you've thrown them to the floor, been used your size or advantage or whatever, but you don't. They just fall over really easily. And then the ref will just be looking at you and say, hey, come on, you know that was a foul. I'm like, no, it wasn't. But then the opposite is also true, because there were times where I got fouled by a little man, and I'm looking at the ref saying a foul. I was like, oh, you're too big to go down like that. Honestly, Kay, I'm so happy I'm retired. So happy.
Shaka, can you remember anyone from your teams that was really good at drawing a foul?
Everybody's just coming piling in my house, as I'm sure you just heard in the background. What was that question? What was that question again, Kay? I missed it.
Can you remember anybody during your days that was similar to Grealish, where they were fouled all the time, or they were actually really good at drawing the foul and getting the referee to give the decision their way?
The only player I can think of is Eyal Berkovic at West Ham, who was small, kind of hard to catch, hard to keep up with, and then every contact he went over, and because he was so small, referees would always give it.
Fair enough. It's those small players again, like you're saying, Nedum. Aravin, to you, Nedum, says, did players analyse their performance in last season and work on their weaknesses during their vacation? Have you guys done that during your career?
Oh, I think so. That's a good question. I think throughout the season you can maybe work on individual things, but you know, to look back at a collective, like if you've played 30, 40 games, there will be mistakes in there and so on. But some of those mistakes are very specific to certain games and certain scenarios, which you'll never probably see again. But I think for most of the players who are playing now, the drive is to always get better every single year, because if you remain stagnant, it seems like you're getting worse, because the game is constantly changing. The players that are coming through now, they're better footballers, they're fitter, they're stronger and things like this, tactically more aware. So you have to continuously improve. So I think players do try to get better, but it's not necessarily through specifics in terms of mistakes and things like that. I think it's just more of a desire to just stay in line with what football is in these days.
Shaka, are you players just like normal people, where when you do go on vacation, you have your fun, and then you're like, right, when I get back, I'm going to do everything right. I'm going to start afresh. I'm going to be really good. Is that when you have that reflection time?
I was. When I was on holiday, I was on holiday. Listen, at the same time, I know a lot of players who would spend the off season training, you know, and trying to get themselves fitter for the following season. Sometimes it worked. Other times they were plagued with injuries during the course of that season. I think your body needs that break, and when it doesn't, you can struggle as a result. So I took my breaks very seriously, Kay.
Nedum, I see you laughing.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of like Shaka. I did take my breaks very, very seriously. And the two things, the first one is that I actually played with Eyal Berkovic as well. So even though Shaka is like old enough to be my father, you know, we still had a crossover. And then the other one.
Hold on.
And then the other one, as like time passed, people didn't really take breaks. So now there's like a pre-season, and that's when I knew enough was enough, because guys were coming back for pre-season, just as they were at the end of pre-seasons when I first started 16 years ago. I thought, no, this isn't for me. I enjoy breaks way too much.
Shaka, hold that thought, because you might get the chance to reply really well now with the next question. The next question comes from Peter Diaz. They say, Shaka, when he was here, how much cooler is Nedum in person than when you were talking to him through a computer monitor?
Oh, let me tell you, Nedum is far cooler on a computer monitor. In person, he's wearing his trainers, but I'm not really sure he's pulling them off. You know, he comes in all casual, but that's an uncomfortable casualness. It comes across better on screen. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, and what you've just said there is exactly what it's like talking to my father. So thank you very much, Shaka. Thank you very much. You've confirmed everything I thought.
I'll have you know, I'm late 40s-ish. I'm mid to late 40s-ish.
It's mid-40s plus VAT, right, Shaka?
Sales tax.
Mid to late 40s-ish. I'm not 53. Let's move on.
I know, we will move on, but he didn't insult you like this in person. So maybe he was better in person.
Yeah, he's all, you know, he's all cool and hard when he's in England. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Just no, I'll be back. I'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back, and we'll be waiting, Nedum. All right, FPL Circle. I'll put this one to you, Shaka. Does Arteta have what it takes to carry his team to the next level? Results seem hard to come by for the Gunners.
We can't be talking about pre-season results, surely. I don't judge Arteta by that at all. I totally understand that Arsenal are starting with Arteta in charge again. I see no issue with that. But know that whatever honeymoon period there was for Mikel Arteta has now expired. And we'll see what they do between now and the start of the season in terms of the transfer market. We'll see how they start. But he's going to be judged now. Long gone is that notion that, well, he's Pep's number 2 and a young manager learning his way. Now it's about getting the best out of Arsenal. That, you know, he doesn't have that safety net that he did last season.
Given his links with City and obviously his time there, Nedum, what are your thoughts on Arteta and whether he has what it takes to take Arsenal to the next level?
I think it totally depends what you want to class as the next level. I think you have some teams in City, Chelsea at the moment, Liverpool probably again, who are going to be pushing for the title next year, and maybe one or two who may be along for that ride for 2/3 of the season. Are Arsenal there? I'm not sure, but they need to be in that top 6 conversation and be comfortably there looking at the top 4. And that jump there is going to be very, very significant because they didn't have that consistency last year. So yes, you might have the right ideas and you might have some of the right plays in there, but you know, the expectation of Arsenal is different. At the end of the day, this is a team who have won titles in the past. This is a team that went a season unbeaten, even though that feels like it's a long time ago. That's the expectation amongst that sort of fan base, to be able to go out there, play well, be consistent and compete with the teams at the top of the table. And I think for Arsenal, I don't think they're there just yet. So can Arteta get there? Maybe, but I think it probably takes a lot longer than just this next season.
Okay, I'll stay with you, Nedum, for the last question. It's at Neil Chouvra, and they say, which is the better way to select Ballon d'Or? Best individual performer or great individual performance leading to trophies?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I think if we're going to talk about success leading to trophies, then, you know, a league season has to count, because, you know, that's where you play the most games to be able to arrive at a trophy. A Champions League, you can obviously do well, but in the Premier League, you know, for example, it's 38 games in a season. I think it's the same in La Liga and so on. And somebody's performed at the highest level there. You know, Champions League isn't guaranteed, but for their team, if they don't perform to their high standard, they probably don't win the league. So I don't know. I could. Sorry, I'm on the fence again, because I could give the answer, but everybody's going to be unhappy. That's the problem. I found this. I was on the Gavin Jules podcast, and I put Cristiano Ronaldo in my team of the tournament, you know, as the top goal scorer in the whole tournament. And I was attacked on Twitter. So ultimately, you know, I'm just going to sit on the fence from this point forward and say, whatever you guys want, you can achieve. Pick whoever you want. It's the right answer.
I think it's more to do with the fact it was Cristiano Ronaldo, because you say Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi, and usually you'll hear from somebody, or many, or hundreds of thousands on Twitter. Shaka, what about you? What do you think? Ballon d'Or, best individual performer or great individual performance leading to trophies?
Well, I'll go with what Nedum was trying to say in option C. Just scrap the whole thing. It doesn't make any sense. That's what Nedum was really trying to say. If I had to choose between A and B, it would be great individual performance that led to trophies. I feel ultimately football is a team game, and that for your contribution to your team winning silverware, for me, eclipses just great individual performance without that silverware at the end of the season.
Just to finish then, Shaka, was Nedum A, disrespectful, B, very disrespectful, or C, extremely disrespectful to you during today's extra time?
Well, I'm going to just go with A, disrespectful, because I don't think Nedum realizes I'm still mid-40s-ish.
I don't think you do either.
That's a perfect place to end. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to update my Wikipedia page. That's what it is.
Yeah, you go update that. Just, you know, poop that one up a bit. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on the latest edition of Extra Time. Thank you so much for your questions, and don't forget you can catch ESPN FC daily, and you can also see a bit of banter like this between the lads daily too.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.